I've read your framework document. It's a comprehensive script writing system for emotional drama narration on YouTube. You've already included a title at the end of the document. She raised him alone for 20 years. Did he ever once look back? No rotation log was provided, so I'll treat this as the first script and generate freely. Let me write the complete script now, following every rule in the framework. If you had to choose between the life you built and the woman who gave up hers so you could build it, what would you do? This man found out the hard way. Marcus had everything. A corner office, a new wife, a house with 6 bedrooms. But when his mother collapsed on a bus stop bench with nothing but a grocery bag and an expired phone, nobody called him. Because she didn't have his number anymore. He had changed it. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe. Also, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? New York, London, maybe South Africa or Jamaica? We want to know. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Back to a small apartment on the 3rd floor of a building that always smelled like old paint and fried onions. That is where Gloria Jenkins lived. She was 41 years old when this story started. A short woman with round glasses and hands that were always dry from cleaning. She had a habit of rubbing her knuckles together when she was nervous, like she was trying to warm them even in the middle of summer. Her hair was always pulled back in a tight bun, and she wore the same 3 dresses to church every Sunday, rotating them so nobody would notice. But people noticed. Gloria just pretended they didn't. The apartment had 2 bedrooms, but one of them barely counted. It was more like a closet with a window. That was Marcus's room. He had a twin mattress on the floor, a small wooden desk his mother found on the curb, and a poster of a basketball player taped to the wall with Scotch tape that kept peeling at the corners. Every morning, Gloria would wake up at 4:30. You could hear her slippers sliding across the kitchen floor, soft and slow, like she was trying not to wake up the world. She would make Marcus his lunch for school. Always the same thing. A peanut butter sandwich, an apple, and a juice box. She would write a little note on a napkin with a pen that was almost out of ink. Things like, "You are smart," or "Mama loves you," or "Make today count." She folded those napkins so carefully, like they were letters to a king. Gloria worked 2 jobs. During the day, she cleaned offices downtown. At night, 3 times a week, she washed dishes at a restaurant called Benny's Place. Benny was a big man with a loud laugh who always let Gloria take home leftover bread and soup. She never asked for it. He just left it by the back door in a brown paper bag with her name written on it. That bread and soup fed her and Marcus on the nights she was too tired to cook. And she was always tired. Marcus was 11 when this part of the story begins. A skinny boy with big brown eyes and legs too long for his body. He was quiet at school, but smart. His teachers said he had something special, that he could go somewhere if someone just gave him a push. Gloria heard that at every parent-teacher meeting, sitting in those tiny chairs with her cleaning uniform still on, smelling like bleach and lemon. She would nod and say, "I'm going to make sure he gets there." And she meant it. Every single word. There was a neighbor named Dorothy who lived on the 1st floor. Dorothy was 73, a retired school teacher who walked with a cane and always had peppermint candies in her pocket. She watched Marcus after school when Gloria was at her 2nd job. Dorothy would help him with homework, feed him dinner, and tell him stories about her late husband who used to drive a city bus. Marcus loved Dorothy. He called her Auntie Dot, and Dorothy loved him right back. She used to say, "That boy is going to be somebody. I can feel it in my bones." Then there was Ray. Ray was Gloria's younger brother. He was 36, a man who always had a plan but never had a follow-through. He borrowed money and never paid it back. He showed up when he needed something and disappeared when you needed him. Gloria loved her brother, but she had stopped counting on him a long time ago. Ray would come around every few months, make promises to Marcus about taking him to a baseball game or buying him new sneakers, and then vanish like smoke. Marcus learned early that some people's words were just sounds with nothing behind them. Gloria's biggest sacrifice, the one she never talked about, happened when Marcus was 13. She had been saving money in a jar on top of the refrigerator, a glass jar with a faded label that used to say pickles. Every week she put in whatever she could, $5, $10, sometimes just coins. That jar was for her teeth. Gloria needed dental work badly. 2 of her back teeth were cracked, and it hurt her to chew on the left side of her mouth. She had been saving for over a year. The jar had $412 in it. But then Marcus got accepted into a summer science program. It cost $350. Gloria emptied the jar that same night. She never got her teeth fixed. She just learned to chew on the right side and smile with her mouth closed. But what happened next changed everything. It was a Tuesday evening in October, the kind of evening where the sky turns purple and the air smells like wet leaves. Marcus was 16 now, taller than his mother, with a deep voice that still surprised her sometimes. He was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework when there was a knock at the door. Gloria opened it. Standing there was a woman in a long coat with a leather bag. Her name was Patricia Cole. She said she was from a private foundation that offered full scholarships to gifted students from low-income families. She had seen Marcus's test scores. She wanted to talk. Gloria sat across from Patricia at that small kitchen table, the one with the wobbly leg that she kept steady with a folded piece of cardboard. Patricia explained that Marcus could attend one of the best private high schools in the state, full tuition, books, even a uniform allowance. But there was a condition. The school was 3 hours away. Marcus would need to board there. He would come home for holidays and summers, but during the school year, he would be gone. Gloria's hands went still. She looked at Marcus. He was staring at the woman with wide eyes. She could see it already. The hunger, the hope. The same look she saw in the mirror every time she dreamed of something better for him. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned. But she smiled. She smiled with her mouth closed, the way she always did now, and said, "If it's good for my boy, then it's good for me." Marcus left that January. Gloria packed his suitcase the night before. She ironed every shirt, folded every sock, and tucked a napkin into the front pocket of his jacket. It said, "No matter how far you go, Mama is right here." She stood at the bus station and watched him climb on. She waved until the bus turned the corner. Then she sat down on the bench and cried so hard that Dorothy had to come get her. And that was only the beginning. The first year, Marcus called every Sunday. Gloria lived for those calls. She would sit by the phone starting at 5 o'clock, even though he never called before 7. She would tell him about the weather, about Dorothy's health, about the stray cat that kept coming to the fire escape. He would tell her about his classes, his new friends, a teacher who believed in him. Those calls were 30 minutes of sunlight in her week. The second year, the calls dropped to every other week. Gloria noticed but didn't say anything. She told herself he was busy. He was growing. That was a good thing. She kept writing notes on napkins and mailing them in envelopes. She didn't know if he read them. The third year, Marcus got a full scholarship to a university. Business school. Gloria cried when he told her. Happy tears, she said. But something in his voice had changed. It was smoother, more polished. He didn't say mama the same way anymore. He said mom now. And sometimes, he said it like it was a word he was trying to say less. By the time Marcus was 22, he had graduated near the top of his class. He had a job offer at a big firm downtown. A real firm, with glass doors and people in suits. Gloria went to his graduation. She wore her best dress, the blue one with the white buttons. She sat in the back because she got there late. The bus was delayed. She watched her son walk across that stage, and she clapped so loud that the woman next to her smiled at her and said, "That must be yours." Gloria nodded and whispered, "That's my baby." But Marcus barely looked at her that day. He was with his friends, his professors, a girl named Vanessa who wore pearl earrings and spoke like she had never had to worry about anything in her life. Gloria waited by the entrance for 20 minutes before Marcus finally came over. He introduced Vanessa quickly, almost like an afterthought. Vanessa shook Gloria's hand and said, "It's nice to finally meet you." Gloria noticed the word finally. They had been dating for a year. This was the first time she was hearing about her. Now here is where the story takes a turn nobody expected.
Marcus moved to the city. He got an apartment, then a better apartment, then a condo.
Vanessa moved in. They got engaged. Gloria found out about the engagement from Ray, who saw it on something called social media. She called Marcus that night. He answered on the fourth ring. She asked him if it was true. He said yes. She asked why he didn't tell her. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Mom, I was going to tell you. I've just been busy." Busy. That word hit Gloria like a rock thrown at a window. She had worked 2 jobs for 15 years. She had emptied a jar meant for her own broken teeth. She had slept on a mattress with a spring poking her back because she gave him the better one. And he was busy. The wedding was 6 months later. Gloria was invited, but she wasn't asked to help with anything. Vanessa's mother, a woman named Judith, planned the entire thing. Judith was 59 years old with dyed blonde hair, a house in the suburbs, and opinions about everything. She made it clear, without ever saying it directly, that Gloria didn't fit. The venue was too fancy for Gloria's blue dress. The menu had foods Gloria couldn't pronounce. The seating chart put Gloria at a table near the kitchen with Ray and Dorothy, who came in a wheelchair now because her knees had given out. Gloria didn't complain. She sat at that table and ate food she didn't recognize, and smiled with her mouth closed, and watched her son dance with his new wife. And when the DJ played a slow song and Marcus danced with Judith instead of her, Gloria excused herself and went to the bathroom. She stood in front of the mirror and pressed her hands against her eyes and took 3 deep breaths. Then she went back out and sat down and clapped when everyone else clapped. But the real shock was still coming. After the wedding, the calls stopped almost entirely. Gloria would call and get voicemail. She would leave messages. "Hi baby, it's Mama, just checking on you. I love you." No call back. She sent cards for his birthday, for Christmas, for their anniversary.
She never got a thank you.
She sent a check for $200 for Christmas, money she didn't have, and it was never cashed. She didn't know if that was better or worse. Dorothy passed away the following spring. 81 years old, died in her sleep with a peppermint candy on her nightstand. Gloria called Marcus to tell him. He said he was sorry but couldn't make it to the funeral. He had a work conference. Gloria sat in the front row of that small church and cried for Dorothy and cried for something else she couldn't name. 2 years went by. Gloria's health started to slip. Her knees ached. Her vision blurred sometimes. She had headaches that lasted for days. She went to a free clinic, and the doctor told her she had high blood pressure and the beginnings of something in her eyes that could get worse if she didn't take care of it. He gave her a prescription she couldn't afford. She filled half of it and stretched the pills out, taking one every other day instead of every day. She had stopped working at Benny's place because Benny had retired, and the new owner didn't keep her on. She still cleaned offices, but fewer hours now. Her income shrank. The apartment felt bigger and emptier. She kept Marcus's old room exactly the way it was. The mattress on the floor, the desk, the poster, now curled at the edges with tape that had turned yellow. One Saturday morning, Gloria was on her way to the grocery store. She had $18 in her purse. She was walking to the bus stop 2 blocks from her building. It was hot. The sidewalk was bright. She felt dizzy halfway there. Her vision went gray at the edges, like someone was pulling a curtain closed from both sides. She made it to the bench at the bus stop and sat down. She put her grocery bag on her lap and closed her eyes. If you think that was bad, wait until you hear what happened next. A woman named Lisa found her there 20 minutes later. Lisa was 28, a nurse who lived in the neighborhood. She saw Gloria slumped on the bench with her head tilted to one side and rushed over. Gloria was conscious but confused. Lisa called an ambulance. They took Gloria to the hospital. At the hospital, they asked for emergency contacts. Gloria gave them Marcus's old number. It was disconnected. She didn't have the new one. She gave them Ray's number. Ray didn't answer for 3 hours. When he finally called back, he said he was out of state and couldn't come. Lisa, the nurse who had found her, stayed with Gloria. She held her hand while the doctors ran tests. She brought her water and a blanket from her own car. A complete stranger did what Gloria's own family wouldn't. Gloria had suffered a severe drop in blood pressure caused by dehydration and missed medication. They kept her overnight. Lisa came back the next morning with a bag of groceries and her own phone number written on a piece of paper. She said, "You call me if you need anything, okay?" Gloria looked at this young woman she had never met before and said, "Why are you being so kind to me?" Lisa said, "Because somebody should be." What Gloria didn't know yet was that Lisa's visit to the hospital would start a chain of events nobody could have predicted. Lisa started checking on Gloria twice a week. She brought groceries, helped her sort her medication, and sat with her on the fire escape in the evenings when the air cooled down. They talked about everything. Gloria told Lisa about Marcus, about the napkins, the jar, the graduation, the wedding table near the kitchen. Lisa listened without interrupting, and when Gloria was done, Lisa didn't say anything right away. She just squeezed Gloria's hand. Lisa had a son of her own, a 4-year-old boy named Elijah.
He had round cheeks and a laugh that sounded like bubbles popping. Lisa started bringing Elijah when she visited. Gloria's whole face changed when that boy walked in. She would get on her knees, bad knees and all, and play with him on the living room floor. She made him peanut butter sandwiches and wrote little notes on napkins. Elijah couldn't read yet, but he kept every single one in a shoebox Lisa gave him. One evening, Lisa asked Gloria a question that surprised her. She said, "Do you want me to find Marcus?" Gloria was quiet for a long time. She looked at the jar on top of the refrigerator. It was empty now, had been for years. She said, "No. If he wants to find me, he knows where I am." But the biggest secret hadn't come out yet. 3 months later, Lisa was scrolling through the news on her phone and saw an article. A local business magazine had done a profile on Marcus Jenkins. There was a photo of him in a suit, standing in front of a glass building. The headline called him a rising star. The article talked about his success, his beautiful home, his wife's charity work. At the very end, there was one line about his background. It said Marcus came from humble beginnings and credited his success to hard work and determination. It mentioned his mother. It said she had passed away years ago. Lisa read that line 3 times. Then she looked up from her phone and looked at Gloria, who was sitting right there, very much alive, peeling an orange with her cracked fingers. Lisa didn't tell Gloria what she found. Not yet. She needed to think. She needed to be careful. Because what she wanted to do next could either heal something broken or break it all the way through. And just when you thought you knew where this story was going, it shifted. Lisa found Marcus's office address from the article. She didn't call ahead. She drove there on a Wednesday afternoon with Elijah in the back seat. She walked into the lobby of that glass building wearing jeans and a t-shirt and carrying a 4-year-old on her hip. The receptionist asked if she had an appointment. Lisa said no. The receptionist said Marcus was unavailable. Lisa said, "Tell him it's about Gloria Jenkins, his mother, the one he told people was dead." Marcus came down to the lobby 7 minutes later. His face was tight. His jaw was clenched. He looked at Lisa and said, "Who are you?" Lisa said, "I'm the woman who found your mother passed out on a bus bench because she didn't have your phone number. I'm the woman who buys her groceries and holds her hand when she's scared. I'm the woman who does what you should be doing." Marcus's neck turned red. He said they should talk somewhere private. They went to a conference room on the 2nd floor. Elijah sat on a chair and played with a pen. Lisa sat across from Marcus and told him everything. The hospital, the medication she couldn't afford, the apartment she was barely keeping, the room she kept exactly the way he left it, the napkins. Marcus was quiet. Then he said, "You don't understand the situation. My mother, it's complicated." Lisa leaned forward. She said, "What's complicated? She gave you everything. She emptied a jar of money she was saving for her own teeth so you could go to a science camp. She ate bread and leftover soup so you could have real meals. She slept on a broken mattress. She waved goodbye at a bus station and cried on a bench. What part of that is complicated?" Marcus looked at the table. His hands were flat on the surface. Lisa noticed they were shaking. He said, "Vanessa, my wife, she thinks it's better if we..." He stopped.
He couldn't finish the sentence. Lisa finished it for him. She said, "She thinks it's better if you pretend your mother doesn't exist." And you went along with it. Marcus didn't answer. Elijah looked up from the pen and said, "Mama, why is that man sad?" Lisa picked him up and said, "Because he forgot something important, baby." She stood up. Before she left, she put a napkin on the table. She had taken it from Gloria's kitchen. It was old. The ink was faded, but you could still read it. It said, "No matter how far you go, Mama is right here." Marcus picked it up. His hand was shaking. His eyes were wet. Lisa said, "She doesn't know I came here, and I won't tell her. But you need to decide what kind of man you are, because right now, you're not the man she raised." She walked out. Marcus sat in that conference room alone for over an hour. Now pay attention to what happens next. That night, Marcus went home. Vanessa was in the kitchen arranging flowers she had ordered from a catalog. Marcus sat down at the counter and said, "I need to talk to you about my mother." Vanessa didn't look up. She said, "Marcus, we've been through this." He said, "No, we haven't. Because every time I tried to bring it up, you shut it down. And I let you. But I'm not letting you anymore." Vanessa put the flowers down. She looked at him. She said, "Your mother doesn't fit into our life. I've told you this. My parents have concerns. Our friends have a certain—" Marcus stood up. His chair scraped the floor. He said, "My mother cleaned offices so I could eat. She gave me her bed. She wrote me love notes on napkins every single day. She didn't complain when you put her at a table by the kitchen at our wedding. She didn't complain when I stopped calling. She didn't complain about anything, ever. And you're telling me she doesn't fit?" Vanessa crossed her arms. She said, "You're being emotional." Marcus said, "No, I'm being honest for the first time in years. I told a magazine my mother was dead. I said that, out loud, to a stranger with a recorder. And I have to live with that. But I don't have to keep living like this." Vanessa asked him what he was saying. Marcus picked up his keys and said, "I'm saying I'm going to see my mother, tonight. And if that's a problem for you, then we have a much bigger problem than you think." He drove 3 hours in the dark. He arrived at the old building at 11 at night. The hallway still smelled like paint and onions. He stood in front of the door with the peeling number on it. He knocked. Gloria opened the door in her nightgown. She looked up at her son. She hadn't seen him in almost 3 years. Her glasses were thicker now. She was smaller than he remembered. Her hands were drier. She looked at him and her chin started to shake. She said, "Marcus?" He said, "Mama." And then he broke. He fell into her arms like he was 11 years old again, skinny and scared and lost. He said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot who I was. I forgot where I came from. I forgot the only person who never forgot me." Gloria held him. She was crying too. She said, "Hush now. You're here. That's all that matters." He said, "No, Mama. It's not all that matters. You matter. You always mattered. And I'm never going to forget that again." They sat at the kitchen table, the one with the wobbly leg and the folded cardboard underneath. Gloria made him a peanut butter sandwich. She wrote a note on a napkin. It said, "Welcome home." Marcus held that napkin like it was made of gold. He told her everything. About Vanessa, about Judith, about the article. When he told her what he had said to the magazine, Gloria went very quiet. She looked at the jar on top of the refrigerator. Then she looked at her son and said, "You didn't kill me, baby. You just lost your way. And now you found it again." That one sentence broke something open inside Marcus that years of board meetings and fancy dinners and glass buildings could never reach. He put his head on that kitchen table and cried like a child. And Gloria rubbed his back the way she used to when he was small. Slow circles with her dry, cracked hands, and whispered, "It's okay. It's okay. Mama's here." The next morning, Marcus called his office and took a week off. He spent the whole week in that apartment. He fixed the leaky faucet in the bathroom. He replaced the light bulb in the hallway that had been out for months. He took Gloria to a real doctor, not the free clinic, and got her proper medication. He sat on the fire escape with her in the evening and listened to the sounds of the neighborhood. He met Lisa and Elijah. When Elijah ran up to Gloria and said, "Grandma Glory!" Marcus looked at Lisa with tears in his eyes. Lisa just smiled and said, "She earned that name." Marcus went back to the city after that week, but things were different now. He called Gloria every Sunday again, at 5 o'clock. He sent money every month, not as guilt, but as love. He told Vanessa that his mother would be part of his life, fully and openly. And if she couldn't accept that, then they needed to have a different conversation. Vanessa resisted at first, but something in Marcus had changed. He was firmer now, quieter, but stronger, like a tree that had found its roots again. 3 months later, Marcus flew Gloria to the city for her birthday. He took her to a restaurant, a nice one but not fancy. The kind of place where you could wear a blue dress with white buttons and feel right at home. He sat across from her and said, "I want you to meet someone." He called the waiter over. The waiter brought out a small cake with candles, and then Lisa walked in with Elijah. They had flown in too. Elijah ran to Gloria and climbed into her lap and said, "I brought you all my napkins, Grandma Glory." He opened a shoebox full of crumpled napkins with little notes Gloria had written. Every single one. Gloria looked around that table, at her son, who had come back,
At Lisa, who had shown up when no one else did. At Elijah, who loved her just because she loved him. She took off her glasses and wiped her eyes and said, "This is the best birthday I ever had." Marcus reached across the table and held her hand. He said, "It won't be the last one, Mama, I promise." And this time, Gloria believed him, not because the words were pretty, but because the man saying them had finally become the boy she raised. A year later, Marcus published a correction in that same business magazine. He told the truth about his mother, about the apartment, the 2 jobs, the napkin notes, the jar with $412. The article went out with a photo of Marcus and Gloria standing together in front of her building. Gloria was wearing her blue dress. She was smiling. Her mouth was open this time, because Marcus had taken her to get her teeth fixed. Every single one. Elijah was 5 now. He started kindergarten that fall. On his first day, Lisa found a napkin tucked into his backpack. The handwriting was shaky but clear. It said, "You are smart. Mama loves you. Make today count." Lisa turned it over. On the back, in smaller letters, it said, "From Grandma Glory." Lisa held that napkin against her chest and cried. Because some things are worth more than money, more than big houses and glass buildings. Some things, like a note on a napkin from someone who loves you, are worth everything. And that is where we'll leave this story. If it touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what lesson did you take from this? See you next time.